matter what you eat, then I only want to eat the good stuff.
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie. Where's my sandwich?
Potatoes, as some of you might not know, were considered poison up until about 1771.
I want to bite into a big hunk of cheese. Just bite into it like it's an apple.
There has never been a sadness that can't be cured by breakfast.
Pardonnez, monsieur, a waffle thin mint.
It's Foodie Friday on 91.7 ABC Gold Coast.
Get in my belly!
Hi, I'm Jayden from Nero Dining in Broadbeach Waters, and I'm 22 years of age.
This is quite extraordinary in that I'm talking to a 22-year-old who's achieved what very few restaurants have achieved, not just here on the Gold Coast, but nationally. Just picked up a chef's hat, which in itself is pretty impressive. How did you get into the food game?
14, I needed a part-time job, so I think like most people in kitchens, I grabbed a dish hand job around the corner at the local pub. But from there, I think MasterChef was a bit of an influence at the start, sort of as a young kid when it first came on TV. And then from there, it's just something that I enjoyed more than anything else. So it's something I stuck to.
All right, so you're 14, you love food, you come home, you cook dinners. Your dad has told me on the slide that he was very jealous of you because what you could do is pretty much put anything together, and you were a natural at it. So when did you think, yep, this is going to be my career, and how did you make that happen?
Probably at the end of high school. Sort of when everyone else starts going, oh, what am I going to do when I leave high school? I think I sort of thought, that's what I can go towards. It's what I love doing. Sort of from there, there was a few rocky bumps, a couple of trials in Brisbane that maybe were pretty good eye-openers for the hospitality industry, especially.
Such as, what were you exposed to?
I did a trial at Motor in Brisbane. So they're one-hat Spanish. I went to do a trial at Alchemy in Brisbane as well, which is sort of a staple up there, but that was right as the Brisbane floods happened. So unfortunately, the day that I was going was the day that they had to close the door for the first day. It was intense. It was exactly what hospitality is. And so from there, sort of rocky bumps and changing of minds a few times. And then probably at the start of the new year, I thought, we've got to have another crack. And then it was 4 months of handing out resumes before I could finally get a job at a pub that I could see from my bedroom window.
Are you a qualified chef?
I am a qualified chef, yes. It's something that mum and dad were very strict on wanting me to finish my qualification, and at the time I didn't want to. I mean, there's enough people in the industry that don't have a qualification that are still incredible chefs, and I sort of thought that, but I think that you need that sort of level of training, level of commitment to the study part of it to be able to call yourself a chef.
Jayden Barker is my guest. He has won a prestigious chef's hat, which is an award that's given out by the Australian Good Food Guide. And, well, quite frankly, it's a big deal. You're 22. Do you ever get a little bit of slack from people who've been in the industry for a while who go, you're 22. What do you possibly know?
Yeah. When we first opened the restaurant, there was actually there wasn't a fair bit. There was a little bit of heated conversations with a few people about it.
How do you take that on? How do you just take that in your stride?
I don't. I'm not very good with criticism, and it's not a very good industry to be in for that. But I mean, I got a good support network. Dad, my fiance, the rest of my family, we're all super tight, and it's a matter of, maybe you're upset at the time, but you go back, you talk to people, you calm down. It's all water under the bridge at the end of the day. So yeah, it is what it is.
And you speak about close associations and support with your family. You have a great relationship with your dad. Your dad has a job that means he's got to do a fair bit of travel. How is something like this and putting this restaurant together with your dad, how has that, I suppose, made your relationship stronger?
Yeah, I mean, our relationship's always been super strong. But it's good. I mean, not many people get to work with their dad doing something fun like this, and he enjoys it and I enjoy it, and we have our moments. But at the end of the day, no, our relationship's always been super strong. So it's just been fun to be able to work with him.
All right. At the heart of it, you've got the qualifications, you've got the support, you want to open a restaurant. What have you learned through that whole process? What have you found hard? What have you found most enjoyable?
The key to owning a business is knowing your limitations. I'm really good at the hospitality side of things. I know how to run a floor, I know how to run a kitchen, I know how to, set all that stuff up. But the flip side of it, the financials, the customer service dealings, that sort of stuff is something that I've had to grow into to keep note of, to learn that sort of stuff. And that's where Dad's a massive asset to the business, as well as being probably the best front of house on the coast, because you get the most personable service you can get. He's really good at all that back end stuff that still stresses me out every morning. Yeah.
Food. Why did you choose the cuisine that you have for your first restaurant?
My background experience, I did the second year of my apprenticeship at Cavalier Bar and Supper, which was Justin Lane Enterprises. So that was it was a little 30-seat Italian supper bar that was above the Justin Lane bar. And so a lot of, like, we make our own bread, our own gnocchi, and our own pasta in-house. We make our own butter in-house as well. All of that stuff I learned there. And then we moved to Pablo to the third year of my apprenticeship to finish it off, and I worked with Pepe there. And a lot of my food really evolved there. At the end of the day, when people ask what kind of food I cook, I just say I cook what I feel like cooking. You know, it's modern Australian to an extent, but it's so diverse, and it really is just, you know, I turned to Josh one day and go, oh, I want to put a 700-gram T-bone on the menu. And he sort of looks at me and goes, I don't know how that's going to work. And that's what's going on the menu tonight. We've got a T-bone, 700-gram T-bone going on with a bone marrow gremolata.
Not just opening the doors and handing out pamphlets in front of a restaurant anymore. There's a social media aspect, there's a marketing aspect, there's a word of mouth aspect. You know, there's so much involved in the public relations side. Going
back to your question before about, you know, what have I learned? I've learned that social media is disgracefully hard to A, keep consistent on, and B, keep track of as to what posts are working, what people want to see, etc., etc. It is ridiculously hard to try and market properly on social media, because you just don't know what works. You don't know, like, are people going to be super hungry at 4:30 when they're finishing work? And so if you post the right thing at the time, then they're going to want to go out. Social media is massive. And if you get it right, you sort of see the spike in the business. You know, you post the right thing and you get 6 calls for bookings. It's just, social media is massive.
So 22, you've got a restaurant, you've got a chef's hat. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Hopefully a couple of restaurants, a few ideas for Bali. We got a few ideas for, I want to open something on the beach at Currumbin, because there's not really a nighttime restaurant down there, and they've got a couple of those sort of 2-story restaurants. Anything else that opens up, we just want to, keep doing good food and all that sort of stuff. I don't have any ambition to go on TV or anything like
that. You know, there is a personal side, because it's an all-consuming gig, yeah? So you've got a family. How do you balance such a hectic lifestyle as being a chef and running a restaurant and still maintaining a bit of me time?
We're a family-run business, and so we made the decision at the start of the year to close on Sundays and open on Tuesdays, and that gives us a family day that gives Dad time with Mum, because he does 5 days a week at his day job, and then normally does Saturday service. So it gives him 1 day with Mum. It gives me a day with my fiancée Kate. And
is she a foodie too?
She is. She's done a couple of years of her pastry apprenticeship. She's got her own little cake business. She's incredible. She's self-taught as well. Yeah, and she works in here a few nights a week as well, which makes things easier.
You just got engaged a week ago. Your father just put that under my nose on a piece of paper. That's pretty cool. Congratulations. Did you do something special when you proposed?
We were in Yarra Valley at one of the wineries, Dominic Porte, which we have on the wine list. And first thing in the morning when it was about 3 degrees, we're in the barrel room. So
there's a lot happening in your life, Jayden Barker, to say the least. What advice, though, as part of Foodie Friday, and the reason I do this segment is because, yes, I have an appreciation of food. I'm not a chef, but I love to eat it. But it's about also offering your expertise and advice. So, you know, there are a lot of young people who are thinking, here's a 22-year-old who's got it going on.
I worked under challenging people. I guess for the first 2 years, Pepe was quite easy to work under. Anything that happens grows character. You got to get through people telling you what to do to then be able to tell people what to do. I mean, you don't start from scratch, but at the end of the day, if you love what you do, get involved, get studying, get trying things. I mean, even as a second year apprentice on $9, $8 an hour, I'd go to Coles on my day off and pick up a heap of stuff and then come home and cook something that I'd been thinking about for weeks. You know, have a notebook, have ideas, you know, just don't stop thinking. It's hard to do 50, 60 hours and then feel inspired, exactly. But, you know, it's when you're lying in bed at the end of a shift and you're just sort of going through thoughts. You got a notebook next to you, just write stuff down. Like, it's all about, you know, growing. If you write something down, it means you're one recipe closer to exactly what you want to put on the plate. And that's where I am, you know, looking back on dish ideas from a year ago. It's looking at them going, what the hell is that? And then now I'm putting stuff on the menu going, yeah, I really like that. But then even I put something on the menu today, and in 2 weeks I go, I want to take that off the menu. Like, it's you know, you just got to constantly evolve, especially in this industry, and going through the hard times helps you get there quicker.